Welcome to the second episode of the Tyrone Top 10 podcast. Today we will be talking about the top 10 football teams that we think are making it to the Super Bowl this year. My name is Parker Wilt.
I'm Tony.
Mr. Coltenbaugh.
And let's get started. For number 10, I'm thinking I'm putting the Atlanta Falcons there. Mainly because they are picking a lot of people from free agency. So they might be a little bit more of a challenge this year, might make it. Never know. We've seen a lot of upsets in the years, so.
I mean, I don't know. They picked up Kirk Cousins, and he's a vet.
Hey, you never know. Sometimes football, quarterbacks are better in some teams.
Yeah.
We've seen it with a lot of people.
Yeah. He is coming back though off an Achilles full of tear, so yeah. I don't know if he's the best, best move there, but they probably could have got something way better for the amount of money they paid for him, like Lamar Jackson or something.
Yeah. What about yours?
I put the Packers my 10. I mean, the addition of Josh Jacobs, picking up some low key secondary players. I think it'll be a good benefit. So I think they're legitimate contenders.
Yeah, I honestly do agree with that. They have been a top contender for a while too, even if sometimes they've had bad players, but still somehow make it in there. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but they do.
Well, and that's you're looking perennially. They have the mystique, the Green Bay mystique.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at that, some people going into Green Bay might have issues playing in Green Bay because they're in awe. So
they might just play worse.
And the NFC North, it has gotten better over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So, but Green Bay, good option. So.
True.
Right. All right, I'm going to go Homer for my number 10. Simply because that's the lowest I can put it, all right? I'll put the Steelers in there. Okay, do I think they're really going to make the playoffs? There's too many question marks there, but I'm going to shout out to the Steelers for at least making a lot of changes.
I think Russell Wilson might be a bust. We don't know yet.
I mean, I think he's still – I don't think he fit in with the Browns' offense.
His stats have been high.
Oh, no, he didn't.
No.
His stats have definitely been high with the Broncos, but just seeing his performance and how far the Broncos really made it with him doubts his chances in, Pittsburgh.
I don't know. I think the Steelers have a decent enough line, so hopefully he'll have a little bit more time back in the pocket.
Yeah.
As far as, Justin Fields is a good pickup. I think the move to pick him, let him sit for a few years, let him get experience under his belt, kind of follow in Russ's footsteps. I think that's a smart move. I think he's the QB of the future as far as the Steelers go.
Yeah, I definitely think with trying to get a good quarterback, you definitely have to have an older quarterback just to mentor that quarterback to show him the ropes and what to do in the NFL, because there has been a lot of NFL moments where people got cocky and got put on their.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
So, my number 9, I'm gonna have to go the Bills. Most likely because they have been doing really well in the years for a while. I don't think I've heard about them picking anyone up that good, but they still have been doing really good this year.
Right.
Yeah. I put the Jags at my 9 just because I feel like they're starting to get some more, offensive weapons. They just picked up Gabe Davis. They're starting to head in the right direction. Personally, I like the move of taking Mac Jones. I think, having that edge of two, younger quarterbacks that really want a starting spot, I think that's a solid move on their part.
Yeah,
so
I do agree with that.
I think they'll make a good run come playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the Bills at 9 also. And the one reason I have them at 9 is because they lost Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
And I thought he was more of an integral part, when somebody's, covering Diggs as much as he can get covered.
Right.
Davis, could be open more often, and since they got rid of him, I have them at 9. So.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. But number 8, I think I'm gonna put the Dolphins at 8, mainly because what they did last year. They did really good. They just underestimated the Bills and lost that spot.
Yeah.
So that was their mistake. So,
Yeah.
but I do think with Tyreek Hill, they could do better.
Yeah. Plus, they are adding on to their defense a good bit. You know, they're adding to the secondary, so
Yeah.
it's a good pick. I put Dallas in my number just because I feel like they haven't made very many free agency moves, but I still feel like they're a good team.
Yeah.
Plus, this is the last, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last year for Micah's contract,
I think so.
Diggs' contract, CD's contract. So, yeah, I feel like they're definitely going to go all out this year for the last year on the deal.
Definitely. So, at number 8, I have the Jags. And one reason is because they picked up Gabe Davis. And I thought that would give, Trevor Lawrence another option,
shot,
right? Yeah, so I thought that would help, loosen
They definitely
them
did a
up.
lot better last year than they've done in a while.
Yes.
Which leads to my number 7 pick, the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Mainly because they did really good in last year's season. They've done really bad in the past few years.
Right.
Nonstop, we're last in almost every single one. So just seeing how far they've made it, it's nice to see an underdog team going into the playoffs, going into the divisional finals.
Definitely.
And would be nice to see a rookie winner of the Super Bowl.
There you go.
What are we on, number 7?
Yeah.
I put Miami for my number 7. I think the moves they're making defensively, as far as and Jordan Porter and I forget who else they signed. Didn't they sign another defensive player? I believe he was a tackle, a D tackle.
so, yeah.
I could be
I don't
wrong,
remember.
but yeah, I think they're making good strides. Their offense obviously is really good. They have a lot of depth. They have a lot of years. I think the only thing they did lack last year was defense, which is why they had such a problem, getting the ball going and then postseason. So I think now that they're starting to add some depth, they're actually going to be a solid contender team.
Yeah.
Nice. At 7, I put the LA Rams.
Okay.
Yes, they lost Aaron Donald to retirement, but I think with the changes in Seattle, and I don't think Arizona is going to be of any consequence this year.
Yeah, they
so
haven't
I
really
think
made
they're
any
going to
big
slide
plays
into
at all.
their wild card spot. But, so I put them at 7.
Yeah, I agree with that. But my number 6, I think I'm going to have to go with the Rams as well. I have to put them in there mainly because, yes, they lost to Aaron Donald, but they still can do really well without him. We've seen a lot of people lose some main center players, but still getting some minor players that still do really good.
Yeah, I put the Bills for my number 6 just because I think losing the offensive and defensive players that they have, I feel like it's going to hurt them, but they still have enough, star power where they'll be fine. They'll hold up where they were at. Do I think they're going to go any farther than what they've been going? Probably not, but I still think they're a solid contender.
Right.
Yeah.
So for 6, sorry, Swifties, I put Kansas City. All right. I think, it's kind of when you do back-to-back, you get tired. We
get
saw that
tired
with
of
the
rooting for
Penguins.
and
When was the
seeing
last
it.
time you had NFL teams going back-to-back? It's not easy to run the gambit.
I do have a theory about the Chiefs. I do think if you would take away Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, they probably would fall apart. Or even Andy Reid.
Right.
They would probably fall apart.
Yes. Yeah.
Number 5, I think I'm... this is why it gets hard for me. I think I'm going to put the Eagles at 5. Mainly because they lost Kelce, but they picked up Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley hasn't really shown a lot of potential, but he's still a really main-centered player to a lot of teams.
Right.
Like, the Giants probably were really sad when they lost him.
Right.
But still really good.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with the Eagles. Has Kelce signed his retirement paperwork?
I think he did a speech.
Okay, well, even though he said he's going to retire,
there
Has
might
he
be a-
done the paperwork to officially
Yeah.
retire?
Brady
So we
Brady
might-
did do that.
Yeah, Brady.
Brady
So
did do that.
Yeah,
you know.
and I would be really surprised if Brady came
Yeah.
back.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, does Kelsey come back? He has expressed, well, if I knew Barkley was going to be on the team
Yeah.
at that point,
Yeah.
he had interest. So it's maybe something to watch for in the late spring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Can't forget about like Jalen Hurts. He's still a really good quarterback. In my opinion, one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league.
Top 5.
yeah,
But yeah,
I put the Lions for number 5 just because I feel like, you know, they're a good underdog team. I mean, they have a lot of power, and they're coming off a good year. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think the extension of Dan Campbell, on top of, you know, extending some of their star players that they have, locking them in, I think they're a good team. I think they're solid.
yeah,
I definitely want to see them go far. They remind me a lot of the 2018 Eagles.
right.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know. That'd be a personal favorite of mine to go far.
right. I'll comment later on that.
What
On the Lions. Previewing.
Okay.
So, okay, number 5, I
Yeah.
have Baltimore.
Okay, that's fair.
All
Pick
right.
up Derrick Henry.
They picked up
Very
Derrick
scary.
Henry.
All
you know.
linebackers in that division are scared.
Yeah, so,
They did pick up someone very well. With Lamar Jackson, that run duo is going to be crazy.
right.
And both the speed mixed with the just raw power of Derrick Henry is going to be really good.
Right.
Number 4, I think I'm going to have to go with Baltimore as well. Mainly because I was thinking about before this, they did pick them up, but I do think there is still some better teams because some people haven't made moves, but they're still really good teams without making big moves.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I threw the 49ers up there at 4 just because I feel like they're still a good team. I think they have a lot of potential. I mean, they definitely need to keep their offensive stars.
Yeah.
Dre Greenlaw coming back after that injury. I definitely think they can go far. Personally, I feel they should have went a little farther than what they did in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah,
Right.
I got confused when they just completely changed the rules up though with the overtime.
Oh, not yeah. A
Yeah,
lot of
just
people didn't know
that
that
they
the
get a
change in
chance
the playoff
that you get a
rules.
chance to get more points. I honestly did not like that. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was fair. Honestly,
right.
just pop it up on them randomly.
Well, and of course that looks at the coaching staff and understanding what the
Yeah.
rules of the game are.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure there's some intern somewhere who knew that rule and didn't. It's like, oh, I need to make sure the
Yeah.
coaches
Yeah.
understand. So,
Yeah.
but and I have San Francisco at 4.
Yeah.
So, Brock Purdy coming back, getting more experience, showing some grittiness. So,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna put the Chiefs at 4. Mainly because, yes, they're still a really good team, but do I think they're going to win 3 Super Bowls in a row? No.
right.
Mainly because I think a lot of people would just flip about that
Yeah.
and would not be happy.
Right.
So I don't think they would want to do that because for reviews on the Super Bowl and everything, they want people to tune in, not
Yes.
want to see less people tune in because it's back to back to back.
I threw the Ravens at my number 3 just because I feel like that addition of Derrick Henry, it makes them way, way more dangerous. I definitely think Derrick Henry isn't, as powerful as he once was, but he's still a consistent runner. He's still a,
Right.
1,000-yard rusher. I mean, him in addition with, Lamar, Zay Flowers, that kind of pickup, and they just released Odell, so whatever else they're going to
Yeah.
add to the offense, I mean, it's a good move, and their defense is already good enough. I think the
Right,
only
yeah.
thing that's going to hurt them defensively is the loss of, Patrick Queen. That's it,
Yeah.
though.
Definitely with that. Third, I have Philly. I think the nice thing is that Saquon will actually have an offensive line to run behind, and then mix in, Hurts' ability to run. So that'll help loosen it up if they spread out the offense a little more, and maybe once in a while do a 13 set, get the big boys in there
Right.
and,
Mhm.
just run,
Yeah. For my number 2, I'm going to have to go with the 49ers, mainly because even though they haven't really picked up anyone big in free agency, still a really good team. With Debo, Christian, Kittle, Ayuk, and Brock Purdy on that offense, Bosa on the defense, still really good.
Right.
I just think they really need to pick up some better O-line because the O-line's still really good, but against certain teams, they still aren't that good.
Right.
I do think that Brock Purdy needs to keep in the pocket and not stop running out,
Right.
too.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 2, I put the Eagles as a personal. I think the addition of Saquon's a good move. I don't think there's a lot of flaws. I mean, I think personally this isn't just out of like pure greed or whatever. I think we got the best free agency so far.
Right.
I mean, Saquon's pickup, Devin White, the small little Bryce Huff. I think we have a lot of star power coming in. I think we're going to be a dangerous team this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I put Miami a second. I think as long as Tua doesn't get hurt, stays away from those concussions, a little running just to keep the defense off, and I think Miami with they don't have a lot of big names necessarily, but they have skilled position players that with experience that they've gotten working together.
Yep.
I think they can make a serious run this year.
For my number 1, I think a lot of people might be a little confused with this. I'm going to go the Bucks, mainly because they did really good last year. And I don't think they're getting rid of the quarterback. So
They just extended him.
Yeah, they definitely did, I think, yeah. And I do think they could come with an upset, mainly because they did really good last year. They did lose in the playoffs, but they still did really good. So there's a chance they might make it.
Nice.
I put the Chiefs at number 1 only because they're the only team in the league that really doesn't have like a flaw on either side of the ball. I mean, their defense is really good. Their offense is really good, and both can account for one. Their offense, we've seen it accounted for when their defense was lacking and they were, players injured or vice versa. I mean, they're the only team that it just shows general consistency. And I think, is it possible for them to go, 3? Maybe. I wouldn't, they're one of the only teams I can remember that I would say have the legitimate possibility of doing it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that's a determined thing or set in stone.
Definitely. Number 1, I'm going Detroit. I know it's crazy. It's Detroit of the 1950s. They loved their football. They loved their team, and they haven't been there. This year, they had both winning and losing experience in the playoffs. They have there's a little mystique and magic starting to evolve around this team. It's a major culture change with their coach, and they have excellent wide receivers.
Their fans are also really behind them on this.
Yes,
The fans
it's going to
do
be
have
packed.
a lot to do with football,
So
and their fans do stand behind them no matter what. They stood behind them through all the losses, so they are real fans.
So I think they can be rewarded this year.
Yeah.
So.
They could, yeah, definitely. But that is it for the second episode of the Tyrone Top 10 podcast. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.